this chapter, I will be talking about the commercial eligibility and technical availability rules in telecom industry. I want to emphasize that the eligibility and availability are used for commercial and technical purposes, and these are the most mixed concepts where people sometimes use eligibility instead of availability, etc., etc. So the key point is that the eligibility is always commercial and the availability is always technical. Let's start talking about these criteria and how they are used. These are just to control what can be sold to what kind of customers or to whom, and they ensure that the products are presented to the right customers, and the products that are sold to the customer can be fulfilled correctly and without any error. So both eligibility and availability, they are applied during the offer presentation and order validation. And as I said, these are eligibility is always commercial and availability is always technical. And they're very critical in telecom product modeling because you will be associating these criteria or rules to the product offerings and their prices. And they will drive the order capture of the customers because they ensure that the customers can only see the eligible product offerings or the ones that make sense for their context based on who they are and what they already have and what the network can actually deliver to the customer. Let's start with the commercial eligibility. The commercial eligibility defines who does qualify to see or buy the product, purchase the product. Basically, it has three criteria, but these are the basic as TM Forum defines, like the market segments to limit the offers to residential, enterprise, wholesale, seniors, or different type of segments of customers. The second criteria is the location based on customer's address or point of sale. This has nothing to do with the availability or technical, but you may want to just make a product offering eligible in a certain region with different taxation rules, pricings, etc. So that's why you may want to restrict. And even in some cases, I have seen that the eligibility criteria is set to a very specific square or a district where the sales activities are going on in that region. The third one is the sales channels. Sometimes you may want to make eligible some product offering eligible to be sold in special channels, for example, retailers or some dealers that you're working with, and some through web self-care channel or IVR or mobile application, etc. And there may be other advanced rules on top of these three basic ones that come or based on the customer's profile, demographics, and credit history information of the customer. What I'm trying to emphasize is that the commercial eligibility doesn't check what you have purchased before or what you have, but it checks only commercially, are you eligible to see these products and to purchase these products. As I said, the commercial eligibility criteria are associated to the product offerings in a product catalog. That's why in a product modeling exercise, you need to consider at least these three criteria to define the eligibility. How does the eligibility work? Well, it may be designed in different ways. This is the one that I recommend. While browsing the products, any component, any front-end component or channel application may directly query the product catalog, but in that case, you may not be able to control what kind of products are shown to the customer. So therefore, I recommend going through the product offering qualification component, which is part of the product configurator. The request comes to the product offering qualification with customer's profile information or the segments or location. The product offering qualification internally makes a call to the product catalog to get all product offerings meeting the criteria of the browsing request, and it gets the list of product offerings and eligibility criteria which are stored in a product catalog. Then product offering qualification eliminates the ones that are not eligible and returns only a filtered list where only eligible products are shown. Therefore, the browsing products is always through any channel is guaranteed that the customer will see only the ones that are eligible. The eligibility may be checked in order management as well, or when the order is submitted. Of course, the assumption is that the browsing product catalog may not be done by the components that you have designed. But the order manager should guarantee that the eligibility criteria are considered in an order. So therefore, an order directly can be placed by a component without going through the browsing phase. In that sense, a product order manager may want to check the eligibility criteria of the order items so that we can only sell the eligible product offerings. That's another scenario where the order manager can use the same product offering qualification, in that case just to check the eligibility of the product order items. So this is the basic work. If you want to do in a more flexible way, where you want to just abstract the eligibility criteria from the product catalog, because the product catalog supports only 3 criteria, and in order to make it more flexible, you need to extend the TMF structure, which would not be done in every cases. So in this case, the product offering qualification request can come and get the product offerings, and then it can go to an external eligibility rule management system where it can interact with dynamic segmentation engine, where the segmentation rules and segments are formed. In this case, it becomes much more flexible to manage the eligibility criteria. Coming to the technical availability criteria. Technical availability is actually, can we actually deliver the product? So defines if a product is deliverable to the customer. So it checks basically the product compatibility. Can this product be sold along with the others, the selected other ones, or an existing product of the customer? Or it checks customer's purchase history. In some cases, you may want to restrict the number of purchases to a limit, or geographic availability where serviceability as well comes into the picture. Even if a product is eligible commercially, it may be still technically unavailable, so the availability should be checked as well before the order fulfillment starts. For example, a fiber internet may not be available in my area, but commercially I may be eligible to purchase it, but if I purchase, it will not be fulfilled correctly. How does the technical availability work? So it may work in 2 different scenarios, where a channel application, while doing the order capture, may explicitly want to do an order validation so that if the order is placed later, it can go through. And while the user is interacting through the order capture software, it can ask the customer how to replace, how to just use the alternative ones, etc. The second scenario is where the availability is not checked during the order capture, or an order is directly placed without going through the order capture phase through the software that we developed. So the order is direct. But in that case, the order fulfillment, before accepting the order, makes an order validation, and that order validation result is sent back so that the customer can be presented of the result. And when the order is valid, then the placing of the order is accepted and the asynchronous fulfillment starts. The order validation can be done by various components, by an order manager, etc. But my recommendation is to use the product configuration where all the technical availability and order consistency rules are already hosted and managed. The eligibility, as I said, can be working differently in different implementations, but as I do recommend using the product configurator, which is a separate independent component that has access to the customer's products or service availability or to the product catalog, it becomes a flexible design to use the product configurator because you can enhance product configuration rules without touching your order manager. In this case, a customer places an order, the order goes to the order manager, and then a synchronous validation is done through the product configurator where it can check the product catalog for the offers, for the customer's products, the inventory, or the service availability, or any other criteria, the previous purchases, etc., the other orders of the customers, and then the validation result is sent back to the order manager, where the order manager replies back to the component saying that the order is valid and accepted, and now it's put in queue to be processed at a later phase. So my recommendation is the order or availability rules, or the order validation that is checking the availability rules, should be done before placing the order, so that whenever you just place an item in a shopping cart or in an order, you can inform the customer, the end user, that this order will go through or not. But of course, you cannot do this at every item change because it takes time. The product configurators validations can take time because usually there are multiple rules to be checked, and as the number of rules increases, the product configurator starts slowing down. That's why it should be done in a way to not to interrupt the order capture and not to block the purchase or not to prevent the validation. This is the end of the eligibility and availability criteria. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in this kind of videos for the product modeling, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.